See, man, you gotta understand. Sometimes these things don't happen for a reason. But the reason they happen is because they happen, you know?
That makes no sense. I came to you for advice about my wife, and all I get is just stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Look, you just gotta look beyond what you're looking beyond of, because when you go to a door, it's not always open, you know?
Hey, Ollie, look over there.
And another... Oh, Turtle Ollie!
It's like I don't even exist anymore.
Where'd he go? Hello and welcome to NPCs of Wildemount reviewing Critical Role 2, episode 21. I kind of had to check that. I can't remember if it was 20 or 21. Episode 21, really cool episode, couple of interesting combats, some RP moments, and quite a serious moment at the end that had a lot of people on Reddit talking, but we'll get to that. So, Dave.
Yeah. I'm not feeling so great today.
Dave's a little sick.
That's why he's so far away. Yeah, that's the reason why he's far away.
I'm so paranoid to get back getting sick. I hate being sick.
Yeah, and that's why I've got a cold and not a flu.
Yeah.
Even though I may have a flu. But we should talk about the anime intro.
Yes. Yes, we should. So, D&D Beyond put together an amazing animated intro for Critical Role, which showcased some very high-class talent, and I don't know if they're keeping it or if it was a one-off.
They posted it online and kind of everyone's raving about. So it wasn't D&D Beyond who designed it. They kind of got some people to do it from a song that Sam did in episode 7, 8. He did the actual song that you hear a couple episodes ago, or over 10 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And they made it into an actual thing, and it looks amazing. I've listened to it so many times. The bit was even got to be Ollie the Turtle singing it if I had the energy to do that. I realised the track that I've made now is I'm the voice of Ollie the Turtle. It's just very exhausting when you're sick.
Because we wanted... Ollie the Turtle was just going to be a one-off kind of bit, but people loved Ollie the Turtle, so we're doing an anthology.
He's going to have a week break, though. Dave needs us.
Yeah, so if you're not here for the Critical Role reviews, you're probably here for the recap of Ollie the Turtle's life.
It's not going well.
He's got some, he's got some things to work through, but he's got friends around him. Any hooting the blowfish, let's get into the actual episode. They start off in a tavern trying to grab a table. Some hooded figures try to race them, and the Mighty Nein is having none of that, so they jump down as quickly as they possibly can. And we get introduced to the guest this week.
Cali, or Cali?
Caliana,
call her Cali.
Sounds like a Baha song from the 90s.
Yeah, and I'm going to trap Ollie here. What was his name?
Mark Humes from High Rollers. I wrote that down because I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
I know you too well.
You're learning that.
I even underlined it right at the top of the page as well. Mark Humes from High Rollers, the Dungeon Master, who actually was inspired by Critical Role, and that's why he set up the channel High Rollers. And in fact, he'd actually been following Vox Machina since before the stream because he's friends with Matt, and Matt would keep him informed. Yeah,
and Des, one of our followers that's been following our channel for a while, does actually reviews who were inspired by us. So it's kind of a weird kind of people inspired by other people thing. So I'll put Des's link down below of her.
It's like the timeline of the Doctor. It's very complex.
I think that analogy was complex.
But yeah, hey Des, how's it going? Good to have you along.
Anyway.
So they meet Caliana, a level 5 sorcerer with 42 maximum hit points and an AC of 15, half-blood, elf with draconic blood as well.
So it's a weird mixture of stuff, really.
Some people thought that maybe the guest would be coming in to play Kiri, but no, Matt continues to carry on the NPC Kiri, the most favourite NPC it seems, next to Pumat Sol from the new campaign.
Yeah, I'm really digging Kiri, but it's a question of how long will the stick go on for, because it kind of feels like it's a one-note kind of NPC.
Well, I just love watching Matt imitating the other players doing voices at the table. He did Travis so well in this episode.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens to Kiri. Because, I mean, they don't really know a lot of people in this world, so they don't really trust anyone with Kiri. The only way we'll lose Kiri is if they find their parents.
Or they get hungry and make some peri-peri Kiri.
Ollie.
2 days it took to write that joke.
Wow.
Anyway.
2 days.
It's a slow process,
It's a
Dave.
horrible, mean joke.
There's a lot to it. Any Hootie and the Blowfish. We get a little bit of backstory with Cali almost right away. We find that she's hunting an artifact. Interesting.
It's a bowl.
It's a bowl, and it's used in some kind of ritual from some cultists known as the followers of the Scaled Tyrant.
Otherwise known as...
The Mother of...
Tiamat.
The Mother of Dragons.
Tiamat.
The 5-headed dragon from the original D&D.
Tiamat. Tiamat? Is it Tiamat or Tiamat?
I always say Tiamat, but
Tiamat.
I have no actual idea. If you can write it phonetically in the comments.
Also Tiamat, and remember, this is the second time we're hearing a lot of these old gods.
Yep.
Coming in, and remember we had Tiamat at the at the end of the last campaign with Arcane, whatever his name is, Arcane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like we're getting another response of that.
I don't know where that thinking is coming from. Yes, so essentially some cultists are hunting a bowl for their malevolent purpose. Shh. For their malevolent...
Oi! Oi! Shh. Good.
I know you're not going to have enough energy to edit that out.
No. Keep going.
The malevolent purpose of the people in the dragon masks is to grab this bowl for a dark ritual. Now they kind of worship the Scaled Tyrants, worship the Mother of Dragons, Tiamat, god, powerful entity. And essentially they abducted Caliana because she has draconic blood and she's got scales. So they kind of worshipped her, but also distorted her mind a little bit and forced her to commit murders and such. So Cali,
As you do.
As you do, you know.
Yeah. When I get kidnapped, I want to commit murder.
I had a dream. I had a dream that I was...
This is going to be crazy, guys. Let's buckle up and get ready.
I had a dream where I was walking through Newtown and there was this homeless guy picking up coins.
Okay, where's Newtown?
This way.
Okay, it's a suburb in Wellington.
It's not too far from here.
Yeah.
So I dreamt I was walking through Newtown following this homeless man who was picking up coins, and then I saw some that he hadn't seen, so I went to pick up the coins myself to give to him. But I found out they were not legal New Zealand currency. In fact, they were strange coins from a cult. Next thing I knew, I was in this like endless rolling hill, very Gloria Vale-ish, and these cultists were showing me around, and like, this is where we perform sacrifices, and this is the chapel where we sing our praises to our gods. And then, essentially, I knew that I was going to be stuck with this cult forever. So the rest of the dream was me kind of...
Stop! I've had enough of this. Why were you... Anyway.
I'm too
You know
lines
how
in.
much energy I have. I'm not going to cut that. Go.
So, we find out that she's after a bowl, a nice little MacGuffin quest. Fair enough. And the party, after some questioning, decides this is someone we will help. Let's follow this quest because it is in the same kind of area.
Yeah, so Cali decides to join them, and there's a little bit of trust issues there.
Yeah. In fact, they carry through the whole episode.
Yeah, exactly, until the final confrontation, which is very interesting what happens there. We'll get to it. So as we go along, Mr. Caleb is kind of used. So a lot of people say that Cali was kind of a combination of Australian, Kiwi, and British, and Mr. Caleb was kind of maybe a Lord of the Rings kind of thing. Yeah. I didn't feel like it was any Kiwi, but that's because I'm biased, because we're Kiwis.
I really love it when DM has a go at playing, because they tend to be quite heavy into the roleplay.
And description.
Yeah. So that he was really good at vocalizing just emotions and things. And some of the things that a new player wouldn't think about when role-playing, but something that a DM would. The only problem I had was that he was using third person. Instead of saying I do this, he was saying she does this, DM. Second person.
It's just DM kind of.
It's probably just the different style, because you kind of either play one or the other.
Yeah.
But I just thought for this, maybe, adjust and do what the others are doing. But
well, I don't think he intended to do it, it's just his nature. When you DM so long, and when you switch to a player, you probably know this, is that it's hard to stop yourself from over-explaining or over-describing, and I think that's just his nature. And I think Matt was okay with it, because Matt was just like, go ahead and do it. So maybe they had a discussion before then about that as well. Yeah,
so. But I mean, generally that stuff kind of takes its roots as you play. You decide if you're going to first person, second person, how much you want to influence in terms of what you do in combat and all that kind of thing. All the role play kind of just evolves naturally, so it's understandable.
Yeah. Anyway, so we decide to go through the swamp as well, and they kind of come some plant traps. We'll try and gloss over that because nothing really sort of happens. A few burning. You kind of see what Cali's capable of,
which I think is what Matt intended. Just a little tiny encounter at the start to make the players go, "Ooh, we can breathe fire." Cool.
Yeah, and acid.
Yeah.
And then we come across to an undead troll that's kind of stalking them and following them.
Yes. There's been some speculation that this is actually not a typical troll, but one of the new monsters from Mordekainen's Tome of Foes, which has just arrived at my work, but I haven't bought it yet, but it's on my list. We also get Matt mentioning fog. At which point the players go, fog? What is that about? Why is there fog? And I think that was just kind of a little bit of scene painting and some player paranoia. As a DM, I sometimes like to just say things like, a bird flies overhead to the east, and everyone's like, why? But why?
He does do that. But anyway, so they find some dead corpses kind of strung up on trees and as kind of warnings.
Yeah.
But as they're kind of doing a bit of investigation, Forborn is his name, he kind of gets too far, for Bron, gets too far behind on the party and gets snatched by the undead troll.
Yep. So basically, force the hand, roll initiative. We got to fight this thing. The start of this episode was actually, for me, it was a great display of all the colours that Matt uses. He doesn't just hit you with funny and then, you know, stay with that. He can go from a serious moment to a horror moment to a sad moment to a beautiful moment. He really uses all the brushes in a DM's arsenal.
That's very beautiful, Ollie.
Thank you. Okay, so essentially they come across, sleeping, a tree, essentially. This terrifying, creepy, horror tree, full of stuff.
Are we not going to talk about the battle?
Well...
Forborn dies.
Oh yeah, I suppose we should mention that.
Yeah.
In fact, someone attacks the troll while it's carrying for Bron, and there's a little bit of splash.
Yeah, and Forborn kind of dies, the troll's kind of got its prize, and it gets away. That's the key thing as well, because it feels like they may come up.
Yeah. So Mighty Nine's in a little bit of trouble, in that the person they were supposed to be retrieving to help with finding out why this thing is...
I don't think it's retrieving. That was their scout to find the storehouse.
Yeah, but I imagine that the gentleman probably wants to question him about what's going on and why he did.
But that's not the one they've got assigned to escort, so they can kind of... That's like... They can get rid of that person.
Could be a problem. I don't know. We also get some cool... Where are we? You jumped ahead. I love Matt...
No, you jumped ahead, and then I pulled it back. And now you're accusing me of jumping ahead.
Sorry, I lost my place. I love Matt impersonating the Mighty Nine. I've got written...
so anyway...
Duplicity rocks. So when they're fighting the troll, Jester uses duplicity, and it's awesome.
Alright, so we'll move past the trolls, just standard attack.
Yep.
The key thing is the troll got away. We kind of move forward, and there's more body warnings, as I put it, more dead bodies.
Yeah.
We find out more about the bowl, about the ritual, how it's a device to contact a god.
Yeah. Scaled tyrant.
Yes. Basically, we also come across a chamber.
Yeah.
So this is where the majority of the last bit of the episode takes place.
Yep.
We go inside the chamber, and there's a hole. Noct decides to go down the hole. And then we find these... I put fishmen. I couldn't work out what beasts they were.
Probably merfolk.
A merfolk?
That's what I would go with.
Yeah, I was like... Initially, I thought Gnostic, but then they kind of mentioned it was humanoid as well.
Yeah.
So probably fish folk?
Well, I'd say merfolk. They've got the webbed kind of like mohawk thing, hence why I have.
I'll put a picture up of what they look like, possibly. I can get a 100% concrete answer.
Yeah. Apparently they had like no noses, kind of scaly, according to Matt. Yeah, but that was cool.
So they kind of just Noct goes down, and then the rest of the party kind of follows suit, and then a big battle ensues of them kind of just taking out the mermen.
Yep.
Whatever.
Interesting thing, they're down here, and they actually see the merfolk, and they know battle's imminent, so they all start standing around and they discuss. They try and come up with a battle plan. But Matt is kind of hinting at the fact that, come on guys, you're like right next to them, and eventually he just goes, sorry, you guys have been talking loudly too long, everyone roll stealth.
Yeah.
And obviously if everyone's rolling stealth, one's bound to fail, and that kind of pushes the combat forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is something, you got to be aware of as a player. If your DM's putting you in a dangerous situation like combat, you got to think about where you are and what you're saying.
The pressure cooker.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that is part of the game, but you also sometimes you want to react to that. The character wants to react, but you don't have enough time to think about that, and then it gets all messy.
Yeah. But it's kind of a skill of the good DM to know when to push something, when to, I suppose, punish your players for taking too long, because there's a bit of a thin line there.
Yeah, it is.
So during the battle, we've got Ford falling, using his abilities to just stabilize, and then falling again.
Yeah, the half-orc ability, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that counts fine.
Sorry, I keep thinking it looks like...
We're just a lot brighter than we normally are. We're trying to fix the camera. But,
yeah, hopefully I fixed the focus.
I'll find out. I'll tell you. I'll let you know.
Yeah. So another cool thing, when Ford's in the water and gets knocked unconscious, which, I mean, that's danger right there. The thing he's wearing under his armor that he bought actually bobs him back to the surface. Ah, man, great. Brilliant thinking. I'm adding that kind of armor stuff to my world. That's just awesome. Yes, and
I didn't take many notes of the battle because
okay.
I was working at the time, so I only briefly heard it.
Yeah, he watches while he's at work now, which is interesting. Yeah, that's basically the most important thing. Ford gets knocked out, nearly dies, but no, it's
yeah,
fine.
it's kind of they eventually take her out of the merman. I guess they're cool.
Anyway, after this, they find the bowl.
Finally, Not finds the bowl.
Yes.
Because this is very important, the timeline of events in this particular scenario.
Not finds the bowl, and in typical rogue fashion, whoop,
yeah,
slips it away.
So we'll gloss over what also happens. So Ford goes down a hole, kind of swims ahead, pops his head up, sees there's more creatures, goes back, and they establish that if this is the storehouse or the location that they're supposed to secure, that there's more monsters they have to beat.
Yeah.
So they come to that conclusion. So I want to get that out of the way before we talk about the conflict that happens next.
Yes.
You want to start it?
Okay, so essentially we've got a moment where they've told Kaliana that they have the bowl.
Yep.
And Kaliana's like, sweet, hand it over. I'll help destroy it. And Caleb kind of goes, well, you know, I'm minute and bitter. This is a powerful artifact. I just met you 10 hours ago. I've used, I think it was Detect Magic that he used, or he got a sense.
He used Identify, because initially when Not brought it over to him, he identified it and hit it.
Yeah.
And then it took the rest of the Mighty Nine aside, showed it, and that's when this all happened.
Yeah, so he kind of goes, well, it's a powerful artifact that allows you to talk to a very dangerous god. We don't 100% know your intentions. I'm not comfortable with just handing it over.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go.
And then Bo decides to take things into her own hands.
Yeah.
Literally. I didn't even mean to make that pun, and it happened. She snatches the bowl and holds it up above her head.
Out of Caleb's hands.
Out of Caleb's hands. And basically says, look, we're going to hand it over.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's agreeing. Jester is insistent they trust Cali.
Yeah.
Cali, I should say. Cali. And they eventually give the bowl back to Cali. Yeah. Oh, no, actually, no, that doesn't happen.
Basically, now this was the most roleplay heavy moment of the session.
Yeah.
And it sparked massive conversations on Reddit. Essentially, Bo. I mean, we know Bo. We know she's brash. We know she's the opposite of Keyleth. She's very forward. She kind of is a bit harsh to Caleb.
Nope, I disagree.
Really?
I just literally watched it. You heard me watch it. I don't think she was too harsh. I think he needed that.
See, I have to respectfully disagree. I think that it stepped almost over the line of roleplay and a little bit into a little bit more of a personal attack for me. It felt like because she starts saying about how it's not his responsibility to decide things for the group.
Agreed.
But that's what she was doing by taking the bowl and that moment away.
But it was pretty clear the group already trusted Kaylee, and the responses like Jester and all the others, and ultimately Caleb was making that choice for the group. Caleb was saying, I'm holding on to this bowl. I'm saying we are waiting right now. We are waiting 12 hours, and Jester is going to... Sorry, just making a point. Jester is going to cast Truth, and that's when I'll decide to hand it over. That's what it felt like.
I don't know. For me, it was more a moment of, this thing is dangerous, and I want to do whatever I can to guarantee the safety of who we are. This is what I think we should do.
No, that's not what he said.
I'm sorry, I've still got
Yeah. Anyway, go.
Yeah, and he basically says, personally, and this is a roleplay moment between him and Cali. At this point, he hadn't had the rest of the party involved. Said, I'm willing to give it over. I just want to cast a spell, Zone of Truth or something, and figure it out. Which I thought was fair enough. And yes, he was kind of taking the lead in terms of the party. He was stepping forward, but everyone does that at some point. Ford in this episode and some of the previous ones has led the roleplay involved in decent conversations with NPCs and such. I felt like Caleb was just trying to have a moment where he took the lead a little bit, and I think that Bo's reaction could have been handled in a different way.
See, I agree with the sense of the fact of Caleb was making the call for the group. That you can't really dispute that he was making that call on behalf of the group.
Well, he was making it on behalf of the group, but I felt like
without consulting the group. Yeah,
but I feel like what he was going for was just a roleplay interaction between his character and Mark Hume's character. I don't think that it was him representing the group. I think it was him trying to just get a little aside so that they could have a nice little roleplay moment.
But the group had to react to that because they were in the moment.
Yes, no, exactly. That's why.
So that's why I was okay with Bo's reaction, because it felt like this is how Bo would react if someone was making a decision on her behalf without consulting her.
No, I totally agree that her thoughts were justified, and that how you're kind of taking the lead for us all here without conversing in it. I just think the way she expressed herself and the way that she did it. Essentially, she said, we don't care about your PTSD. We don't, we're all shitty people. Just because you think. Just the kind of language she was using, I felt like was a bit too much of an attack. Ironically, on Reddit, some people had a massive discussion and then kind of agreed that they had overreacted to the moment, which was kind of...
Leave your comments below what you think, because we obviously have different perspectives on it. I didn't think it was too much. I felt it was a really good story element of the fact of them overhearing that and Caleb realising he can't always make that call when the situation like this. But leave your comment below. Which side do you go on? It's good to have these discussions, and obviously me and Ollie disagree, but that's the point.
Yeah, no.
Otherwise, you'll just hear one voice and then... Yeah, we would be wrong either way.
And when we describe our point of view, be it contrary or opposing, we do so in a civilized manner because we are civilized gentlemen.
On camera.
We're actually pretty good off camera as well.
Yeah.
We've had 2 arguments that are decently serious in the last year.
I can't remember them, so it must not be significant. Anyway, also Yasha destroys the bowl.
Yes, Yasha, the wonderful barbarian. What I love about Yasha's character is every time she says, I would like to rage, big old smile on Travis's face. Because, he gets to see it. It's cool. Yeah. It's the same thing that Liam gets every time Not does like a stealthy thing.
It's like a proud father.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of the episode. We had a good little meaty discussion in the middle there, so it's a bit longer than it normally is. But yeah, make sure you leave a comment down below of what you guys thought about the episode, what you actually thought about that intense role-playing, whether you kind of sided with how Bo reacted, or you think it was an overreaction.
I'd also like to point out that after the episode, Marisha gave Liam a big old hug and said, I love you. Yeah. So you could tell that, it wasn't.
And on Twitter, Liam, which I think he didn't need to, but he did post saying, defending these actions, that Marisha acted in the way of the character, so did Not, and so did Caleb. And it feels like he was defending himself when he didn't need to. It feels like people were overreacting, saying, how dare you? It's like, at the end of the day, this is a story. Story has conflict. Story isn't supposed to be heroes getting along, happy, hold hands, you save the day. This is these stories are supposed to be interesting and different and go right, left, up, down,
and
everything.
Even though they're in a visceral fantasy world, they are supposed to have relations to reality, and certainly the struggles that we go through being 3 billion humans on a rock floating in space.
Yeah, is it 4 billion now?
Something like that. I'm not keeping track. I started counting.
Anyway, this has been long enough of an episode, and somebody has to edit this.
Yeah, but yeah, if you want to read more, the Reddit thread, the one that has spoilers for episode 21, thread discussion, has a whole massive conversation about this.
We'll put a link down below.
And now it's time for that wonderful bit at the end of the episode where we read some comments from you.
Alright, and I'll read out the first one because I wasn't ready. I was ready, that's why I left our camera really quick.
He's prepared.
So the first one is from Mike McNavy. I do apologise if I butcher that, as I always do. He goes, talking about gods, do you think the Traveller is the NPC that Vox Machina meets in the Fae in the last campaign, the one that gave them extra time for the Victor fight. Love little details like that. Now, I can't remember the character's name at the top of my head. I'm hoping one of the replies, Garmony or something like that. It does recall. I don't think so, because that creature was a lot more kind of cunning and flamboyant kind of, and the conversations that the Traveller has had with Jester don't seem to have that tone.
Right.
If that's put on, would make sense, but it feels like it's not. I think this deity, the Traveller, isn't someone we've met before, just based off what we know so far.
But I do think that keeping an eye on what the deities are and what they're doing is going to be important in this, as is knowing about the Calamity, which seems to be a reoccurring kind of like...
That's our theory, eh? The whole gods is going to play, and plus we've got a huge god-heavy centric episode, this one, with that cult, and I think we're going to hear more of that cult going forward. So.
I actually wonder if it's going to be the second Calamity. The gods come down from the celestial heavens once more and influence the mortal realm in powerful ways.
Possibly. The second Calamity.
The second Calamity.
Interesting.
And my comment is from Chaos the Noir, who just said, weather forecast for next week, thick fog rolling and thunder. Apparently, no wait, it's just Ollie eating a tinfoil wrapped sandwich. The only reason that's my comment of the week is because I laughed really hard when I read that comment and it made me smile. So thank you. Thank you for making me smile.
Hopefully there's no more fog this episode, but we'll find out in about an hour when I edit this.
Yeah, and hey, we're about to go and record a D20 After Hours podcast, so if you want to check that out, it'll be online at some point in the next week.
Yeah, or it'll be on Sunday.
Sunday.
Well, Sunday for us.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday
for them. Go wrong way. Make sure you subscribe and show us some love. We really like it. People thumbs up all the time. Even if you don't comment, you just watch. I really appreciate it, but any love you throw our way keeps us going. And
jump in our Discord if you want to chat to us. Send us an email if you wish, and wish Dave well because he's ill.
Yeah. Or even suggest other content for us to do, because we do want to do more. We are planning things in the background, and we'd love to produce more content for you guys. So, thank you very much for joining us on NPCs of Wildemount. From myself, Oliver Dungeon Master, and we wish you a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Yeah. Let's go do a podcast. Let's do it. Let's go get Jason. Okay.